Down to crunch time, folks. Welcome everybody here as we continue on the debut season of the NRSL Winston SuperSpeedway Series. Race number 14 coming to you live. Chase race number 4, elimination race number 2. We have started off our chase with 12 drivers competing for the championship. When the checkered flag waved at Armory, we were down to 8, and here today when we complete the 19 laps at Talladega Superspeedway, we will have determined the 4 drivers that will head to next week's race at St. Joltis to compete for the inaugural NRSL Winston Superspeedway's championship. Right now, it is really close amongst 5 drivers. There are 2 drivers that come into this race almost in a must-win situation to move on to the final round of the chase. Let's set the stage for you. Brenna Carmichael, for the first time this season, is the points leader by 1 point over Ashlyn Boyd. It's 4 points over Zach Rogers, 5 points over Eli Bright, 6 points over Dallas McIntosh, and 10 points over Alex Gray. 6 drivers vying for 4 spots separated by only 10 points at a track where one position on track could be so important. The 2 drivers right now that are almost in must-win situations are Joseph Srigley and Zachary Fitzwater. Both found some hardship last week at M&M's. Srigley comes into this race currently 26 back from the points lead, 21 points out of the final 4. Zachary Fitzwater comes into this race 32 back of the leader and 27 points back from 4th in the standings. So really, in all honesty, it's almost a must-win situation for them. For Zachary Fitzwater, the last time we were here at Talladega Superspeedway, he finished in the 3rd position. For Joseph Srigley, the last time we were here,
drivers, start your engines.
As there's the command, he finished the Talladega race in the 29th position. So Fitzwater hoping he has his continued success, Srigley hoping he's able to turn it around based off of where he was last time we were at this high-banked super speedway. And then there's everybody else on the grid that they just want to go to victory lane here today. So throw that into the mix. So in my opinion, the best battle that's going to be going on here today are going to be between Carmichael, Boyd, Rogers, Bright, McIntosh, and Gray. I think those will be the 6 that will probably determine who are going to be the final 4 moving into St. Joltis. Right now, the highest starter of those 6 complete the entire second row. Alex Gray rolling off 3rd, and Eli Bright currently in 4th. If the series were to end now and we were to head to St. Joltis based on who's in the points right at the moment, it would be Carmichael, Boyd, Rogers, and Bright. McIntosh, Gray, Srigley, and Fitzwater currently are in the danger zone. We'll have to see if that's where they'll be when we get to the completion of this race. 19 laps of racing, but if I recall correctly, it's the same distance we ran in our first Talladega race, and they had to make green flag pit stops. So we'll have to wait and see what happens in that regard. Let me just double check and see if that was indeed the case. And yes, it was. It was 19 laps in our first Talladega race. Steve Morgan was, of course, the winner of that event. Morgan got eliminated from the playoffs after round 1. So here we go. And of course, maybe the most important part of the racetrack that could be the most important outcome of who's moving to the final 4 and who isn't is where the start-finish line is positioned here at this track. Down in between the tri-oval and turn 1, not here in the center of the tri-oval like most racetracks have. If we were at Daytona, right there is where the start-finish line would be. But since it's Talladega, start-finish line is all the way down here. Green flags in the air. Let's find out who's going to be our final 4 here today at Talladega. And I think it is also worth mentioning that even though we had Gray and Bright starting up here at the front of the field, if you notice the grid down in the description, drivers like Joseph Srigley, Ashlyn Boyd, and Brenna Carmichael all started near the rear of the field. So a tale of 2 scenarios for certain drivers here. Drivers trying to stay at the front and the drivers trying to fight their way to the front. Just saying. mean, it is possible to work your way to the front. If you go back to the last Talladega race we had here, J Shelly qualified in the 30th position, I believe it was. No, I'm sorry. It was the 34th position. And he was able to battle his way up in 19 laps to finish runner-up to that race winner, Steve Morgan. So it is possible to work your way from the back to the front here at Talladega. Phil Parker going to take the top position away from Benjamin Miles. And he'll lead them down the back straightaway here. And you'll see right there that number 6 of Z Flickinger coming in with all the momentum in the world. He's won the last 2 Superspeedway races so far, winning first at Army Digital and then last week at M&M's. Can he go 3 in a row? Before Flickinger went to victory lane last week, he only had one multi-time winner this season. That was Zach Rogers, who has been to victory lane 3 times this season. Everybody else who had been to victory lane had only been to victory lane once. Flickinger becoming the 2nd repeat winner this season when he took the checkered flag last week. Top 3 single file for the moment. Phil Parker, Emmanuel Hartnett, Zach Flickinger, and then Zachary Fitzwater, who, as we stated, pretty much in a must-win situation. No surprise to see Parker and Hartnett working together, even though they're not really teammates here in this series. The 2 of them teammates in the online series at Fire Ice Racing, so no surprise to see them working together. As Fitzwater, boy, he's a man on a mission right now, trying to get to the inside for 3rd place off Zach Flickinger, realizing that he has to be at the front. He has to win this race if he's going to have a shot at moving on to the Final 4. Now, keep in mind, Zachary Fitzwater headed into Armory Digital Super Speedway, our first elimination race in the danger zone. Not nearly in as much of a hole as he is here today, but he was in the danger zone heading into Armory and still was able to get himself into the Elite 8, so he might be able to do it again here today. We'll have to wait and see. And the driver who won here the last time we were at Talladega, Steve Morgan, we already mentioned, already eliminated from the chase, but he's up here inside the top 10, trying to double down and sweep the Talladega race weekends this season. Trying to look for playoff drivers outside of the 9 that are moving towards the front. I guess you got to go a ways back before you get there to the 90 of Alex Gray. Gray came into this race 6th in the point standings of the drivers that were within 10 points of each other. He was the last of those, and so right now he needs to make sure he keeps himself ahead of at least 2 drivers that are ahead of him in the point standings. Right now I think he'd be mostly focused on being ahead of the 8 and the 28. Came in only 4 points behind McIntosh, only 5 points behind Eli Bright. Who's the caboose on this train? This is kind of interesting. Now, I don't know if this is strategy or what, but Ashlyn Boyd, right now, who came in 2nd in the points, only 1 point back from Brenna Carmichael, is right now the tail end of the field. Like I said, could be strategy. He's still in the lead pack, which is the important thing. And just could be riding there, waiting, biding his time, seeing what happens, and trying to keep himself out of any possible scenario where he could get swept up in the big one when and if it happens. Other drivers, I think, might also be using that strategy, trying to fade to the back, is the 28 of Dallas McIntosh. McIntosh, though, came into this race the first car in the danger zone. Not sure how much I would approve of this strategy. I think if you're a driver that has to make it into the Final 4, that comes into the danger zone, it doesn't matter, you know, whether it's 26 points back or 2 points back, you got to get yourself up to the front. And again, though, maybe strategizing back here when and if the green flag pit stop's taken care of. Who knows? Brenna Carmichael also came into this race the points leader, and he is also up on the top side here towards the rear, as is Zach Rogers, as is Eli Bright. They're in the middle of the pack right there. One driver that's making his way to the front. We saw that Fitzwater's trying to get himself in, as he's kind of in a must-win situation. Same for the 77 of Joseph Swigley. the bottom of the racetrack, making very good strides towards the front of the field. We'll see what he can do. Ciculli came into this race 21 points back from the fourth in the standings cut line. Almost practically a must-win situation for him, and keeping his car on the bottom, working his way to the front, and he's almost into the top 10. He's somewhere right now about the maybe 15th, 16th position. And Fitzwater is kicked up to the top side, and he's got no friends up there. Meanwhile, up at the front, things basically single file for the most part. Phil Parker continuing to control the different lanes. Isaac Nichols in second. Kyle Keith now moves to third. Jefferson has fourth, but Tim Walsh and Preston Plord lined up in the inside line, might take those two spots away from him. And Fitzwater still way up top with no friends. He is the loneliest man in the field right now. And that is not what he needs. And the fact he comes into this race in a must-win situation. Kind of interesting, I just noticed who he tucked in front of, and that was the 75 of Steve Morgan, last timeout's winner here at Talladega. Think back to the Talladega race that Morgan won. He kind of got help on that final lap from Zachary Fitzwater. Fitzwater battled with J Shelly for second place, which allowed Steve Morgan to keep the top position and win that race. Would Steve Morgan, who is now eliminated from the chase, be willing to pay back the favor to Zachary Fitzwater and push him to the front, maybe to a win here, with Fitzwater entering this race in a must-win situation? Kind of an interesting thought there. 10 laps to go here at Talladega, and again the question of when are those pit stops going to happen? We know they're gonna have to pit before this race is over. It's a question of when. And Phil Parker might very well be the first one, the Pied Piper, that drags everyone to pit road, because he has been out in front for pretty much the entirety of this race so far. He's the one that's using up the most fuel, cutting the wind, creating the draft for everyone else behind him. And when you do that, there's more fuel consumption when you're the one that's out there kind of separating the draft for everyone else behind you. Now, the highest running playoff driver, as we saw that kind of exit by Zachary Fitzwater towards the rear of the field, is Joseph Ciculli. The other driver is in a must-win situation. He's now up to the 9th position, about to take 8th place from Jonathan Zoerlein. And you gotta wonder what kind of maybe wheeling and dealing was going on down there on pit road for Ciculli and Fitzwater, with some drivers saying, hey, I know you want to win, but I'm in a must-win situation. If it comes down to you and me working together in the closing stages, would you be willing to help push me to the front? And I think we're going to have pit stops. I think we're having pit stops now. Yes, we are. Phil Parker is going to be the first one to hit pit road. Patrick Smith, Diego Yepez, another playoff driver in the form of Rogers, McIntosh, and Bright are on pit road. 3 playoff drivers just hit pit road this lap. The 24, the 28, and the 8. And that's going to turn the race lead over. Well, it turned it over to Kyle Keith, but now Preston Plord takes the spot. So here we go. These are the pit stops that might decide it all. And interesting that 3 playoff contenders decided to all come down and pit together. Drivers that came in 3rd, 4th, and 5th in points, Rogers, Bright, and McIntosh, all decided to come to pit road together. So now you got to wonder, Carmichael, Boyd, and Gray work together here and come to pit road together this time. Preston Plord is in. Seth Cole, Charles Sandfer, a lot of Pontiacs coming to pit road this time. Whoa, contact there between Tim Walsh and I think that was J Jefferson. I think J Bryant made contact with someone as well. I'm looking to see who is coming in for playoff contenders. There's Gray. There is Boyd. I did not see Carmichael. Did Carmichael stay out? Yes, he did. Stayed out with Fitzwater, actually. Race lead gets turned over to Kyle Keith in the 42. He's still yet to hit pit road, though. So it looks like we've got Rogers, Bright, McIntosh, they're working together. Boyd and Gray working together, and Carmichael Fitzwater working together. As now Kyle Keith comes to pit road along with Nicholls, LaPlante, Norman, Brock, Ciculli, Shelly. Carmichael is in along with Shane Lake, Ace Garcia, or that's Fitzwater rather, Dylan Young and Levi McIntyre. Right here would maybe be the potential battle for the race lead. Phil Parker was the first driver to hit pit road when the green flag pit stops began, and he was the leader at the time. Notice the 28 and the 24 are up here, Rogers and McIntosh, so that strategy together worked. Eli Bright though, and he was also on pit road the same time they were. But that strategy might have very well worked out in the favor of the 24 and the 28 who are trying to make it into the Final Four. Preston Plord going to cycle out ahead of Phil Parker, and that could cycle him to the race lead when this entire field gets cycled around. They pass Brock. Cars up here on the back straightaway they still have to pass. Kyle Keith and Isaac Nicholls. And I think you're looking right now at your lead pack. Now the question is, where do all of our playoff contenders cycle around after this? Kyle Keith is going to hang on to the top spot. So coming to pit road as late as he did works out in his favor. He looks like he's going to come around, and officially with the cycle of pit stops complete, he will be the leader of this race with 5 laps to go when he hits the stripe. Now let's find our playoff contenders. Where are they at? Zach Rogers right now is the highest running of them. He put the line in 8th. There's Dallas McIntosh. He was in 10th. There he is, in 28. So they're both in good shape right now. Let's drop back. There is Srigley. He is currently 14th. He's the must-win situation car. Brenna Carmichael in good shape right now, currently in 15th. Fitzwater way back here. He's in trouble. Eli Bright faded back after he and McIntosh and Rogers all pitted together. I don't know how good that is for him. There's Ashlyn Boyd. Boy, Ashlyn Boyd a long ways back. Last time by was scored in 32nd. That's not good for the 16. And there is Alex Gray, also way back here, currently scored in the 40th position. Right now, if things were to run the way they currently are, the drivers that would be eliminated from making it to the Final Four would be Ashlyn Boyd, Alex Gray, Zachary Fitzwater, and Joseph Srigley, which means right now that Eli Bright is kind of hanging on a wish and a prayer. Rogers right now looks like he'd be locked in. McIntosh looks like he'd be locked in. I think Carmichael currently is in a good spot. So it really comes down between Eli Bright and, I guess, Ashlyn Boyd. If Ashlyn Boyd can get up there to the 8 car, how far are they separated is the question. There's Bright. And where is Boyd in relation to that? Oh wow, way, way back. And with no drafting help. So Eli Bright looking like he's in a good spot right at the moment. Just got to stay there. Carmichael's in a good spot. And so are Rogers and McIntosh. So we may, even with still about 2.5 laps left in this race, we may already now know our Final Four to battle for the championship next week. Rogers, Carmichael, McIntosh, and Bright. It looks like those are going to be the ones unless something happens here in these final 2 laps. Rogers to the lead, looking for his 4th win of the season, but Phil Parker says, no sir, I led the first half of this race, I want to lead the last lap. Charles Sandfer right there as well. He's got really good numbers here at Talladega to Sandfer in other series. Preston Plord's right there. Kyle Keith, Seth Cole, Isaac Nicholls, Diego Yepez, McIntosh, and Patrick Smith. All of them want to find victory lane. Sandfer committed to pushing Phil Parker to the lead. Kyle Keith trying to get the outside line going with Zach Rogers in front of him, Seth Cole behind him. It'll be the white flag displayed this time by Rogers way up high, and now he's going to get kicked way up to the top side. Parker, Sandfer, Preston Plord, they may be the ones to settle it out for this win as the white flag displayed for Phil Parker. Sandfer riding in the tire tracks of the 71. He's got a Pontiac behind him and Preston Plord. Would Preston be willing to push Sandfer to a win if Sandfer makes the move? Down the back straightaway they go. Will Sandfer make a move? When does he time it? Preston goes to the inside for second. Kyle Keith makes the move 3 wide for second place. That may ice it. Phil Parker may have this in the bag now unless Kyle Keith can get a heck of a run down the front straightaway. Out of turn 4. Parker out of Carlington hand. Keith trying to get to the back bumper. Can he make a move down here in the tri-oval? He's close, but he's not close enough. Phil Parker gets his first win of the season. Takes the checkered flag here today at Talladega. Rogers gets 7th. He's in the Final Four. McIntosh gets 10th. He's in the Final Four. Carmichael was 14th. He's in the Final Four. And Eli Bright, 22nd, will get the final spot in the Final Four to compete for the championship next week at Z Joltis. The other ones, Strigley got 13th, but he was in a must-win situation. Fitzwater was 21st, but he was also in a must-win. Ashlyn Boyd faded back in the closing stages to finish 32nd. That eliminates him. And Alex Gray, who this entire season, this entire playoffs, is the only playoff driver to win a playoff chase race, finishes 40th, and his championship hopes are gone as well. Phil Parker going to do a celebratory victory lap here, and as he does that, we will show you now the full finish results. Kyle Keith going to come away with 2nd, Isaac Nichols in 3rd, Seth Cole and Preston Plord in 4th and 5th, Sandfer there in 6th, Zach Rogers, Patrick Smith, Diego Yepez, and Dallas McIntosh completing your top 10. So we know the 4 that will battle for the championship next week. 3-time winner Zach Rogers, Brenna Carmichael, who's been maybe the quietest, the sneakiest driver in the playoffs here. Dallas McIntosh, who came into this race in the danger zone. And Eli Bright, who just barely is going to squeak his way in ahead of Ashlyn Boyd. Those are the 4 that will battle for the championship next week at Z Joltis. We'll show you down through the remainder of the full finisher results. Everyone finished on the lead lap, but those green flag pit stops certainly shuffled the field up. And take a look there, the drivers that finished 1st and 2nd here at Talladega. The last time we were here, finished 41st and 35th. Just shows you how different an animal Talladega can be every time we come to it. So our Final 4 are determined. Carmichael, Rogers, Bright, and McIntosh. Who do you think is going to win the championship next week at Z Joltis? I can't wait to find out. So we will see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in to today's race at Talladega. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and become part of the crew today. We've shown you full feature results. These are your overall point standings and your reformatted points to show you your Final 4 heading into next week at Z Joltis for our season finale. Till then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching a production of the SRA Offline Racing at its best.